Listen carefully. What you are going through right now is not the end. It is the preparation. The heaviness in your heart, the exhaustion in your mind, the tears that no one sees. God sees them all. You may think you are standing in the middle of chaos, but I tell you today, you are standing on holy ground. Because when stress begins to press you, when life begins to crush you, that is when God begins to create something extraordinary out of you. The pressure you feel is not punishment. It is divine preparation. God is not ignoring your pain. He is transforming it into purpose. He is about to take that very thing that caused you sleepless nights and turn it into the door that leads you to your destiny. You see, when stress surrounds you, it feels like your life is spinning out of control. You try to fix everything, but nothing seems to work. You feel weak, powerless, frustrated. Yet, God allows such moments not to break you, but to build you. Stress is often the soil where God plants the seed of your greatest blessing. It may not look like a blessing right now, but soon you will see that every sleepless night, every anxious thought, every tear you shed was watering a seed you couldn't see. God never wastes stress. He uses it as His holy tool to shape the person who will carry the blessing He is preparing. When you look at your life right now, you might see confusion. You might see delay. You might see doors that closed in your face, people who betrayed you, and dreams that seem too far away. But from the throne of heaven, God sees alignment. He sees timing. He sees protection. He knows that if He had given you the blessing before you learned how to handle pressure, it would have destroyed you. So instead of removing the stress, God uses it to refine your faith. He allows you to be pressed so that what is pure, strong, and faithful inside of you can rise to the surface. You see, when a seed is buried in the ground, it is covered by darkness, by weight, by pressure. But in that very darkness, life begins. If the seed could talk, it would say, "Why is everything so heavy? Why is everything so dark?" But it doesn't realize it is not being buried, it is being planted. And in time, the same soil that covered it becomes the foundation that nourishes it. That is how God works in your life. The stress you feel right now is not the soil of your burial. It is the soil of your breakthrough. You are not being crushed to die. You are being pressed to grow. God never promised you a life without stress, but He did promise to turn every pain into purpose. When the weight becomes too much to bear, that is when you must look up. Because the moment you surrender the stress to God, He turns it into strength. The moment you stop trying to control everything, He takes control and leads you to peace. God has not abandoned you. He is closer now than ever. Every time you whispered to Him, "God, I can't take this anymore," He was not silent. He was preparing. You were crying over what was ending, but God was rejoicing over what was beginning. You see, many people misunderstand stress. They think it means something is wrong with them or that God has turned away. But often, stress is the divine signal that God is about to shift something in your life. The greater the stress, the greater the blessing that follows. The pressure is proof that something holy is forming. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Gold is purified by fire. Strong trees grow against the wind. In the same way, your spirit grows stronger when stress presses against you. You may feel like breaking, but God is using that very tension to stretch your faith and enlarge your capacity to receive more from Him. When you look back over your life, you will see it clearly. Every stressful season became the stepping stone to your next level. The times you thought you would never make it were the very moments when God was teaching you resilience. The days you cried alone were the days God was fortifying your character. He does not allow storms without purpose. Every delay, every disappointment, every sleepless night, they are divine instruments working together to position you exactly where He wants you to be. So, don't curse your stress. Transform it into prayer. Don't run from your pressure. Use it to push you closer to God. When your mind feels overwhelmed, that is not the time to quit. It is the time to surrender. Because the moment you stop fighting in your own strength and start trusting in God's plan, peace begins to flood your soul. God never said life would be easy. But He did say He would turn all things for good. The stress you feel now will soon be the testimony you tell others. The very pain that once made you question your faith will become the story that strengthens it. Listen, God does not allow stress without a reason. He is intentional. Every situation that drains you, every obstacle that frustrates you, every burden that seems too heavy, all of it is under His control. He knows exactly how much you can carry. He knows how to stretch you without breaking you. He knows when to stop the storm and when to let it rage just long enough for you to discover the strength He placed inside of you. And when He sees that you have learned to trust Him in the chaos, He will calm the waves and lift you into blessing. Your blessing is not coming from the outside. It is being formed within you. That's why stress feels so heavy. You are birthing something powerful. Just like a woman in labor experiences pain before she holds the miracle in her hands, you too are enduring labor pains of your destiny. God is about to deliver something through your life that will bring Him glory. And when it arrives, you will forget the pain of this season. The joy that's coming will be greater than the stress you have endured. The tears you've cried will be turned into laughter, and the anxiety that once consumed you will be replaced by peace so deep you'll know it was only God who could have done it. Do not think God has forgotten you. He has heard every prayer. He has seen every effort. He has collected every tear. Right now, He is aligning things behind the scenes. You may not see it yet, but heaven is moving on your behalf. The same God who turned deserts into rivers is about to turn your stress into a flood of blessings. The doors that seem closed are about to open effortlessly. The relationships that caused pain are about to be replaced by peace. The opportunities that passed you by are about to return multiplied. God is about to show you that nothing in your life was wasted. Not 1 ounce of pain, not 1 drop of stress. Sometimes God delays your blessing because He's preparing it to fit your future, not your past. He will not give you something that belongs to the old version of you. That's why He uses stress to stretch you, to prepare you for the weight of new blessings. He's changing your mindset, your habits, your attitude. because what He's bringing requires maturity. Don't misinterpret the process. What feels like stress is actually divine remodeling. God is tearing down old walls so He can build something better. Soon, the same situations that used to stress you will not even shake you. The same people that once got under your skin will no longer have power over your peace. You will walk through storms with calm confidence because you'll know God is in control. The maturity you gain through this season will make you unshakable. You will no longer panic when life becomes uncertain, because your faith will rest in the certainty of God's power. And when others see how you stand strong under pressure, they will ask you, how do you do it? And you will say, it was God. You see, peace is not the absence of stress. Peace is the presence of trust. And God is using your current stress to teach you divine trust. He's teaching you to let go, to rest, to believe that He is working even when nothing seems to move. And when you reach that place of surrender, when you no longer rely on your own strength, that's when the floodgates of blessings open. God does not release great blessings into anxious hearts. He releases them into trusting ones. That's why this season is not about what you can control. It's about what you can surrender. When your heart finally says, God, I trust you even when I don't understand, heaven begins to shift in your favor. Things you have prayed for will suddenly align. What once took years to build will come together in moments, because faith accelerates what stress delays. The moment you trade your anxiety for trust, God multiplies your blessing. He never fails to honor the one who chooses peace in the middle of pressure. Every time you choose to stay calm, to keep believing, to stay faithful, even when everything looks impossible, you are sowing seeds of future blessings. God sees every act of patience. He sees every time you wanted to quit but didn't. And He will reward you openly for the faith you practiced in private. Soon, you will walk into blessings that will make sense of everything you went through. You will look back and say, if it hadn't been for that stress, I wouldn't have grown this much. If it hadn't been for that pain, I wouldn't have discovered my purpose. If it hadn't been for that storm, I wouldn't have learned to trust God so deeply. This is your turning point. You are standing on the edge of divine reversal. The things that once made you cry will soon make you grateful. The burdens that seemed unbearable will become the proof of God's faithfulness. Do not despise your current stress. It is a bridge, not a barrier. It is carrying you to a new level of peace, prosperity, and purpose. God is not just going to remove your stress. He's going to reward you because of it. He's going to restore your strength, your energy, your joy, and your confidence. He's going to show you that everything you went through was leading you here to the season of divine turnaround. When you are under pressure, when the storms of life surround you, and the weight on your heart feels unbearable, that is when you must understand God is not destroying you, He is defining you. The intensity of your stress is not a sign that God has withdrawn. It is a sign that His hand is upon you, molding you, shaping you, refining you for a greater purpose. God often works silently in seasons of struggle because His greatest works are done in hidden places. You may not see it, but God is building a foundation so deep that when He raises you, no wind will ever shake you again. There are times when you pray for peace, yet God allows more pressure. You ask for rest, yet more responsibility comes. You plead for answers, yet silence surrounds you. But this is the way of divine wisdom. God is teaching you how to remain calm in chaos, how to trust when you cannot trace, and how to walk by faith when sight fails you. He wants you to learn the art of divine patience, the strength that waits without fear, the calm that believes even when nothing seems to move. Stress is not the enemy. It is the classroom where God trains your soul to be steady under pressure. There is a secret hidden within your stress. It is the voice of God calling you to deeper surrender. When everything in your life feels uncertain, God is saying, be still. Let me be your certainty. When you are exhausted from carrying burdens that are too heavy, God is saying, lay them down. Let me carry you. God does not want you to live anxious, worried, or fearful. He wants you to live anchored, trusting that even when life shakes, He remains unshaken. When you reach that point of surrender, stress loses its power. It no longer controls you. It refines you. You no longer live reacting to problems. You live responding to peace. Many people waste their stress by complaining about it. But the wise turn their stress into prayer. The faithful turn it into worship. They say, God, I don't understand this pain, but I trust your plan. And when you speak like that, you move the heavens. You shift the atmosphere around your life, because faith that remains under pressure becomes unstoppable. That is why the enemy tries to use stress to silence your prayer, to weaken your focus, to drain your hope. But if you will stand firm, if you will keep your heart open to God in the middle of your storm, that same stress will become the force that drives you into your destiny. You are not breaking. You are breaking through. You are not losing, you are learning. You are not forgotten, you are being prepared. Every challenge, every obstacle, every heavy moment is preparing you to carry something greater. God will not allow you to face a pressure that is not connected to your purpose. Every burden has a blessing hidden within it. You may not see it now, but when the season changes, you will look back and realize that stress was the turning point. You will say, that pressure taught me who God really is. That pain taught me how strong I really am. That storm revealed the peace that only God could give. The blessing that is coming to your life is so great that requires this level of stress to prepare you. The doors that God is about to open need you to be emotionally strong, spiritually wise, and mentally grounded. You cannot walk into that blessing carrying the same fears and habits that once held you back. That is why God is allowing this pressure. It is cleansing your faith, removing your dependence on people, and making you rely only on Him. Soon you will realize that stress was not a curse, but a cleansing fire, burning away what was weak so that only strength could remain. Do not envy those who appear to have it easy. You do not know the weight of their story, and they do not know the glory that is forming in yours. God is doing something in you that comfort could never create. You are learning endurance, discipline, and faith. Qualities that cannot be developed in calm waters. God sometimes takes you through storms so that you can learn how to command peace within yourself. When others panic, you will stand firm. When others give up, you will press on. Because your strength is no longer rooted in circumstances. It is rooted in the unchanging power of God. Every storm runs out of rain. Every night eventually gives way to morning. Every burden, no matter how heavy, has an expiration date. The stress you feel now is not permanent, it is seasonal. And when God decides that the season has fulfilled its purpose, He will lift the weight, restore your joy, and reward your endurance. The moment of relief will come, and it will come suddenly. You will wake up one day and realize that what used to trouble your mind no longer has control. The doors that were shut will swing open. The confusion that clouded your thoughts will clear, and you will see that God had been working all along, even in silence. When God brings you into blessing, He will make it clear that it was not luck, not coincidence, not people, but Him. Because He wants you to know that the peace you will soon feel, not from the removal of problems, but from His divine presence in your soul. That is true transformation, not a change of circumstances, but a change of spirit. God will make you so strong that even if the same storms come again, they will not move you. You will have learned to stand in faith, not in fear. There are times when you will feel as if life is stretching you beyond your limits. You will say, God, I can't handle this anymore. But the truth is you can, because God is in you, and He will not allow more than you can bear. The stretching is uncomfortable, but it is necessary. When God expands your capacity, He also expands your blessing. If you only knew what He is preparing, you would understand why the pressure is so intense. The blessing that is coming will not fit into the old version of you. God is enlarging your heart, your patience, your faith, so that you can carry it without breaking. Some of you are standing at the edge of your miracle, but the stress makes it hard to see. You are tempted to quit, to give up, to walk away. But don't. The darkest part of the night is just before the dawn. When your strength is gone, that is when God's strength begins. You may be tired, but do not stop. You may be weary, but do not give up. Every step you take in faith, even when you feel weak, moves you closer to your blessing. And soon, when the breakthrough comes, you will understand that your persistence was the key that unlocked the door. Remember this: stress cannot destroy you when your faith is anchored in God. Storms may shake you, but they cannot sink you when your heart trusts the one who controls the waves. The moment you shift your focus from fear to faith, stress loses its power. What was once a mountain before you becomes a lesson beneath you. You begin to rise above your circumstances, carried by divine strength. And in that elevation, you see life differently. You realize that the same storm that threatened to drown you was the wind God used to lift you higher. God is about to turn your confusion into clarity. He is about to turn your worry into wisdom. He is about to take what the enemy meant to destroy you and use it to develop you. Every sleepless night is being recorded. Every prayer, whispered through tears, is being answered in the unseen. Do not think your faith is wasted. God never ignores a believing heart. Even when you feel forgotten, heaven is writing your story. And soon you will witness the chapter where the tears end and the blessings begin. You are entering a season where your peace will not depend on what happens around you, but on what happens within you. God is building a peace so deep that no external force can touch it. The noise of the world will not disturb your calm, because your soul will be rooted in divine trust. When you reach this place, you will understand that stress was the tool that led you here. It taught you how to rest in God, how to believe without proof, how to smile without reason, how to stay hopeful even when everything looks impossible. There will come a time when you will thank God for the stress that once broke your spirit, because you will realize it was the very thing that pushed you into purpose. You will no longer resent the trials. You will see them as teachers. You will no longer fear uncertainty. You will embrace it as divine design. Because now you will know God was never against you. He was always for you, working, building, preparing, turning everything meant for harm into holy transformation. There is something sacred about the season of stress. It is not simply chaos. It is divine construction. When God allows pressure to enter your life, He is not punishing you. He is positioning you. He is taking the scattered pieces of your journey and rearranging them into a masterpiece that only His wisdom can design. The problem is that we often judge God's work too early. We look at the incomplete picture and cry out, "Why is this happening to me?" But God sees the full portrait and He whispers, "Wait, I am still painting." The brushstrokes of stress are not random. They are the marks of divine intention. Every delay, every disappointment, every moment of exhaustion is part of a greater pattern that your eyes cannot yet see. When you walk with God, you must understand that not everything painful is evil. Sometimes what hurts the most is what heals the deepest. God allows tension to test your trust, and the measure of your peace reveals the maturity of your faith. When life feels like it's pressing against you, it is really pressing something out of you. Fear, pride, control, doubt. God uses stress to cleanse your soul from everything that would have weakened your destiny. You prayed for strength, and God answered by sending pressure. You prayed for growth, and He allowed discomfort. You prayed for a new level, and He required you to pass through a storm. You see, blessings are built on endurance, and endurance can only be formed in the furnace of stress. There are people who try to escape every challenge, but they end up escaping their own greatness. Because without stress, faith remains shallow. Without resistance, character stays weak. Without pressure, purpose stays dormant. God allows stress not to destroy you, but to awaken you, to remind you that your power comes not from your control, but from your surrender. When your mind is heavy and your heart is weary, that is not the end. That is the sacred call to lean on God more deeply. Stress is God's invitation to come closer, to stop running, to stop relying on your own strength, and to say, "God, you are all I have, and that is enough." And when you speak those words, not as a prayer of panic, but as a declaration of faith, something shifts. The storm does not always end immediately, but your soul rises above it. You begin to experience a peace that no circumstance can take away. The same that once threatened to drown you become the very platform that lifts you higher. Because the moment you trust that God is in control, the storm loses its power to control you. Think about this. Every great person of faith went through a season of deep stress before they stepped into divine success. God never raises anyone without refining them first. The process of refinement is never comfortable, but it is always necessary. When God refines you, He strips away everything that cannot stand the weight of the blessing He is about to release. That is why some friendships end, some plans fail, and some doors close. God is not depriving you, He is protecting you. He removes what is temporary so He can give you what is eternal. And though the removal causes stress, the end result is strength. Stress reveals who you truly are when comfort is taken away. When everything is easy, faith can hide behind convenience. But when pressure comes, your heart's foundation is exposed. Do you crumble, or do you cling to God? Do you complain, or do you commit? The answers to these questions decide the size of your future blessing. Because God blesses those who stand firm when the winds blow, who keep believing when evidence disappears, who keep moving when the road seems invisible. That kind of faith is what moves the mountains. God is not asking you to understand everything right now. He is asking you to trust. Faith does not require explanation. It requires endurance. You may not see what God is doing, but you can be sure He is doing something. Every breath you take in the middle of stress is a testimony of His sustaining power. If stress had the authority to destroy you, you wouldn't still be here. But you are. That means God still has work to do in you and through you. You are still in His plan, still under His protection, still within His purpose. The storm cannot cancel what God has decreed. Do not be deceived by temporary feelings. Stress will try to convince you that everything is falling apart, but in truth, everything is falling into place. The human eye sees disorder, God sees design. The human mind sees pressure, God sees preparation. The human heart feels pain, God feels potential. He knows exactly what He's doing with you, even when you don't. And when His timing arrives, the very things that caused you pain will become the foundation of your peace. Remember this, stress is not always a sign that something is wrong. Sometimes it's a sign that something powerful is being born. Just as a child cannot come into the world without pain, your destiny cannot come forth without pressure. Birth always involves stretching, and spiritual birth is no different. You are being stretched so that you can carry more. Give more, become more. And though it feels painful now, one day you will look back and say, it was worth it. You will realize that God was expanding your spirit to hold blessings beyond what you could have imagined. The world teaches you to avoid stress, to escape discomfort, to chase convenience. But God teaches you to stand firm, to be still, to trust that His strength is made perfect when yours runs out. The stress that seems unbearable is producing something eternal in you. It is producing wisdom, compassion, and spiritual authority. People who have never walked through stress cannot understand deep peace. But those who have cried, struggled, and still chosen to believe. They carry a power that cannot be explained, only felt. They become lights in dark places, vessels through which God's peace flows. And this is what God is doing in you right now. He is preparing you to be a carrier of peace in a world full of chaos. That is why He is training you under pressure, to give you calm in crisis, faith in confusion, and hope in despair. When others collapse under the same weight, you will stand tall. Not because you are stronger, but because your strength comes from a divine source. And that strength, once tested, cannot be shaken. Soon, everything that once caused you stress will serve you. The problems that once intimidated you will now equip you. The experiences that once broke you will now bless others through you. Because God does not waste any experience. Every stress, every struggle, every sleepless night, He recycles them into wisdom, empathy, and purpose. You will become a living testimony that God can turn pressure into power, pain into peace, and stress into success. Do not rush this season. God's timing is perfect. If He has not removed the pressure yet, it's because there's still something precious being formed inside of you. Just as the night cannot rush the dawn, you cannot rush divine timing. The blessing that God is preparing for you will not come a second too late or too soon. It will come at the perfect moment. And when it comes, you will understand that the weight, the stress, the tears were all a part of the story that makes the blessing even sweeter. So today, instead of resisting the pressure, embrace it with trust. Tell your heart, God is working even when I cannot see. Speak peace over your mind. Speak strength over your spirit and walk forward with quiet confidence, because the God who created the heavens and the earth is not confused about your life. He has measured every detail, calculated every moment, and planned every outcome. He is about to turn your stress into an overflowing blessing that will not only lift you, but inspire everyone around you. And when that moment comes, you will not boast in your strength. You will glorify God's wisdom. You will say, it was His plan all along. What I thought was breaking me was actually building me. What I thought was stress was actually the seed of my greatest blessing. And the peace that follows will be beyond understanding, flowing like a river that never runs dry, because it was born not from the absence of trouble, but from the presence of trust. So hold on with unshakable faith. Keep your heart steady, your spirit humble, your eyes on God, for the same God who turned despair into hope for those before you will do the same for you. And when He does, you will stand not as one who merely survived stress, but as one who was transformed by it, refined, renewed, and ready for the greatness that has been waiting all along.